long weekend in New York City. Now I'm tired and broke.
Hopefully you got memories, right?
For a little while, anyway, I hope.
All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Start with the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. Just a few preliminary instructions, emergency exits on the sides off to the back. Restrooms are in the lobby. Be sure to sign in the attendance. You haven't done so already. The business cards at the back of the table next to the sign-in sheet. You're welcome to take them. Let's see. Oh, so on the back table are the proposed resolutions. Please either turn off or silence your cell phones and any conversations that are not pertinent to the application, please take them out into the lobby. Now, other things that I'd like to touch on, if you haven't been here before, the way the board prefers to work is we create a record, it's being recorded, and Amber here will take down the minutes. So it's important that we take turns talking. Members of the board will not talk over you, and please don't talk over us. We'll make a much clearer record going forward in the future. If there are exhibits that you haven't produced, or if you're looking or you have used exhibits, please do your very best to use compass directions or structures instead of, well, if you see over here and over there, the record is going to be difficult to figure out, if you will, if you say here and there. Use compass directions as best you can. With that, the next thing I would like to do is the minutes. We have May 2nd and May 16th.
I make a motion that we accept both minutes on one motion.
Thank you, Fred. You have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Donna. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Carried. Thanks so
That I
much.
have to abstain from the 16th.
Yep, same here. I'm staying from the 60.
That's correct. So we're still good on the May 2nd minutes as well as the 16th. All right. First is auction direct.
How are you? I'm Alan Friedman, the General Manager of Auction Direct. And we just want to make a very simple application to expand, and you're asking me for directions, and I'm terrible with directions, but we want to expand the front part of our lot 19 feet deep and 200 feet wide from the, heading towards Farmington's east or west, whatever the wetway is, on the left-hand side of our lot, inwards, away from the sign, the opposite side of our sign. We just want to simply do that, blacktop it, and that's it.
Okay. So you've needed a variance before, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you remember how many variances you've had on the property?
Over the years, not specifically.
Was it the fence was the last?
Well, I think you made a proposal for the fence, and I think there was a withdrawal on that, but I think there was a variance with respect to especially the parking.
Oh,
What we have here is, it's an approximate, because it's not a straight line as far as the right-of-way goes, so it makes it difficult to pinpoint exactly how much you need, but according to Adam, it seems to be somewhere between 2 feet and 6 feet overall on the 80 feet. Does that sound right to you, or not?
no, in the grass? I'm talking about taking existing grass and paving that.
Right, but as I understand Adam's comments, is the measurement from the right-of-way to what you need, you're going to need anywhere between 2 feet to 6 feet, depending on where the measurement is taking along the right-of-way on Route 96.
Okay.
Did he touch base with you at all on that, or
Not, he may have, it doesn't.
Okay.
I'm not saying he didn't, I don't remember seeing it.
So, again, you're looking to expand, do you want it for, about, what, 21 vehicles?
Roughly, yeah, 21 vehicles.
I
Retail
think
vehicles.
the preliminary plan shows that. So hopefully we have an overview of what we're looking at. So, Matt, do you have any questions, comments, concerns with this?
No, the only comment I was going to have was in terms of where what we've normally done with the other car dealerships. They're normally, obviously not, there isn't always the situation, but they're normally generally about 40 feet from the road. Is that where?
That I don't know. We can look into that.
Like Kitty Van Bordeaux and everyone across, obviously there isn't always the, I'm drawing a blank for the word here, what do we call in the area here?
The frontage, the front setback, or the right-of-way?
The right-of-way, there we go, thank you. Normally it doesn't encroach on a right-of-way, but I thought typically it was a 40 or 60 foot variance we've allowed others to have. Or is
The code requires 80 feet,
correct?
and they need anywhere between 2 to 6 feet.
2 to 6 feet within and all I'm trying to do is understand your ask for 2 to 6 feet and compare that with others similar. And I believe it's much less than what others have as well, so. In addition, in the code comments here, they talked about the fence. So the fence isn't on the table, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know where the fence came from, and I saw LaBella's notes very late this afternoon. They wanted updated drawings, so I sent that off to McFarland Johnson
Okay.
already. So, but I don't know where the fence came in, because we don't want anything there.
Now, if you had to comply with the code, because we could say it's only for, 2 to 6 feet, but, do you really need the 6 feet? Is it necessary? Can you still get what you want if we said, look, just walk right up to that line and be compliant with the code? Is that a deal breaker? Can you not put the cars there?
Well,
Can you park them at an angle versus
I'm sure,
straight
I
on?
mean, when you're saying, so you're talking about 6 feet of grass depth-wise disappearing. Is
Yeah,
that what
because the
you're
only
saying?
thing you need the variance for is that 2 to 6 feet. Like
Over and above, I see what you're
Right,
saying.
over and above. So
Right.
you're allowed the 80, and you need 78 to
Right.
70.
What I really need is ability for a car's length, to fit a car, I'm not looking to put, Super Duty trucks up there, but and typically what we do display the front with is smaller, compact cars. But either way, I just need, whatever a car length is kind of what I need, that 6 to 8 feet.
I don't know, you tell me.
Yeah,
So
how
I
about
mean,
that?
I see the cars now, right, and they're parked, at least where they are now, they're parked straight.
Straight ahead, yes.
And I'm just going, okay, well, to get your 2 to 4 feet, what if you parked them at an angle, could you still accomplish what you want to do without getting the variance?
No, I think if you do it on an angle, you're not gonna be able to get 21 across. It's been our experience, that you park more head-on than you can on an angle.
Maybe I can help in trying to figure this out. The way that the preliminary plan shows, you already have cars that are lined up is up to the grass area. And what you're looking for is more space towards 96. So are you going to just pull those cars forward towards 96, or are there going to be cars, I hate to use the word stacking, but
Right,
front-
so if you take where they're parked right now at the edge of the grass, if you were to pull the car forward, plus like maybe a foot for some clearance space in the back, is all we're looking for.
So there'll be 2 rows of cars.
Well, no, I'm not 2 rows, that row, then a row behind it, but I need a setback to be able to drive through for these cars like in the front, because we don't pull off the front grass into 96, they're gonna have to be able to back up off the, where they currently are and head down the road, the back lot.
I'm just looking at there's a document titled Proposed Site Plan. Looks like a Google Earth or Esri photo expansion site plan. It's in color and it's got a red line that shows obviously where the cars are existing, and then there's a yellow area oh, there it is.
Right.
It is the proposed expansion.
Correct.
What I'm trying to figure out is, how are you gonna put cars there and have those cars behind it and have the space in between the cars to,
Well, if we pull those cars up, you can see there's a pretty significant width between that row of cars right there now and the road behind it today. So we'd be able to
Push
pull
those
those
back a
back a
little
little
bit.
bit, correct, yes. That's what, we're not looking for, even if you just gave me the length of a car to get on the grass, just the exact, 6 feet.
yeah, and that's all I'm trying to figure out is
Yeah.
what if you didn't, if you didn't get this and you're really short by 6 feet
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, would you be able to make it work if you just really went right up to the line? Do you have enough room to play with?
Well, we're at that red line today. You're talking about.
Know what I'm saying?
you're
You're
talking
gonna
the
push
yellow
those
line.
cars back. Mm-hmm. You're gonna push those cars back, and then there's obviously space in between today. Those cars and the ones just, looks like to the north of them. If you push them back enough, and you pave right up until the right of way, would that, although it's 6 feet less than what you're requesting, I'm just,
Yeah, I
I'm
hear
trying
what
to
you're saying.
figure out what
In a
what's
perfect
minimal.
world, I would say it's going to be tough for us to make it work. Do I need the full 8 feet? No, but I'm going to need at least 6 feet to make it work. Because you got to remember too, I have to get snow plows down there. I got customers walking. I mean, it becomes, there's other concerns as well that we deal with on a daily basis. There's always people moving around that lot, so I want to make sure it's clear enough.
You only want that expansion area. I notice obviously you're not going all the way
Nope.
to the west.
I know what to ask for. Just, I don't want my cake and eat it too. I just want my cake. So, yes, just halfway. Because in all honesty, the other side of the property is very high traffic. Where we're proposing to expand, nobody even sees anything in that corner. I mean, it's really a more of a dead visual spot compared to
there,
where
yeah.
the sign is in the entrance. So I understand it's a much higher traffic area, much more probability of a possible someone riding across. But what we're proposing is really off the beaten path from where any traffic comes from. We have no one ever attempt to go through there. So that was the idea of not asking for it all the way down, because we are sensitive to the fact that going all the way down is a little aggressive.
I'm okay for that.
Donna?
Yeah, I have a question. Why don't you just move it, add on down to the west instead of asking for that closer to the road? Where you go, I think I'm to the west. Am I seeing the right thing
You
there?
talking about to the wooded area?
No, the other direction.
Towards the
Towards
west,
the
yeah.
entrance.
Yeah, towards the entrance. Why don't you just make the line?
So the dotted line is the right of way.
Oh, okay,
So that
thank
would
you.
encroach
So-
more. And that's what he was explaining about the view. There's the sign and the kind of a berm there, I believe.
Okay. Oh, right here's the sign.
Yeah, if you've ever drive by that property much, where we're proposing, really,
by it.
yeah, there's not much going on.
Yeah, and this, if I recall, this is where the sign years ago got destroyed by a car accident.
That would be
We moved
closer
it
to the
back,
front
you know.
entrance, yes.
Then we moved it
yes,
back up.
Yes, it's good memory.
How many spots are you getting by adding that little bit right there?
Approximately 21.
So I guess my question is why? Like, what will this accomplish for you?
If you look at the picture now, through the
I-
entire property, we're out of space.
So 21 cars is going to make that much of a difference?
It'll open up what I need to open up in the back of the store, yes.
Mike, we just had recently a variance for the Victor Jeep dealership. We just gave them a front setback variance. Do we have any idea what that was?
We can dig into that.
Okay, I was just curious, just because they're just a little further down the road.
Right, this is, needs to go to the county planning board.
Okay.
So we're gonna get a little bit of time to find out those questions about what does Van Bortle have, what does the Jeep have, that, especially that stretch of road,
Right.
let's say from Brace.
I would say even because there's something else next to them, and I can't remember what it is, but.
I do recall they used the line from Auction Direct as the,
That's what
we're
I
gonna
was
be,
thinking.
compliant with,
Right.
we're not gonna be any farther
Right.
forward than Auction Direct. But I guess we'll wait to see
Yep,
when everything
yep,
comes
so I
back.
think those are good questions.
So you're going to park 2 rows of vehicles when you, if you were to add that on, there's going to be 2 rows of vehicles there.
There's going to be a row where the orange shading is now, and then that row that's currently there, just pictured back a foot or so back. So no, it's just one row.
They're gonna push those cars that you see back and then make room.
There's going to be some right.
Good, Donna, you have more questions?
No?
Sarah?
No, I'm good.
Fred?
Well, you're going to extend what's already there in a straight line, so when it's done, it'll be a 200-foot extension of what's there now, and it sneaks into the right-of-way by handful of feet.
Yes, sir.
Doesn't sound like asking for
Yes, no, it'll be
a
paved
big
too.
deal to me. When it's all said and done, if you drove down there, after it's done, you'd hardly notice that it was expanded because it'll all look the same. Is that right?
Yes, sir. I mean, honestly, if I could put cars there today and you would drive by it and probably wouldn't know they were sitting on the grass. I'm saying that for example of visual purposes. You wouldn't even know the cars are there if I started parking them there. We didn't want to take that route. We wanted to do the right thing and do it the right way because we wanted to get it paved. So that's why. But it's not like you see the Van Bortle setbacks, they have cars right on the road, whether it's the old Corvette dealership or the one down in Farmington, they're both right on the road. The current Victor Dodge store is 35 feet from the road. I mean, we're not asking for anything that no one's doing right now, so, and we're certainly taking the safety. All we're looking to do is continue to grow, have the ability to grow our business. If you remember, we no longer lease that piece of property next door to us, so that constraint on that piece of property has, made us more encompassed to our own property, so we're finding ways to expand our own property. Hence, also, don't forget, we just purchased the property in Victor here, the old paint booth, the old, what's his name?
Stokem.
Stelton, thank you, repair shop, because we for expansion purposes, because we've outgrown the current facility.
Like, is there, usually the issue here, right, is with it going into the right of way. That's kind of what, it's only 2 to 4 feet, but it happens to be 2 to 4 feet within a right of way. Is there normally something that the applicant has to get from the town board I thought it was for insurance purposes or to do anything within that right of way that's kind of like a hold harmless I thought there was something that in the past we've had to get
That's not going to be the town, that'll be the state.
with the state.
Right, so my understanding on the purpose of the right-of-way is to allow the municipality the latitude to, whether it be to get in there, do any kind of utility work, or expand it, instead of going through the process of eminent domain. So I think the plan, what I would suggest is, because I think you understand, this has to go to the county planning board for referrals, so we have to sit tight a little bit. We have some homework. What I'd like to do is find out Jeep and Van Bortle. Now, you mentioned Farmington. We don't have anything to do with Farmington, so we have to cross that off the list. And the other dealership, if it's anything that's in the village, it's not the jurisdiction of the town, but if it's in the town going in the other direction, certainly we can look at it to compare apples to apples as best we possibly can. What I'd ask you to do in the meantime, if you're willing to do so, is if you could diagram it out, because I think there's some confusion on what is it going to look like if the variance is granted, where would those cars be? And I think if I understand you right, there's going to be a lane of traffic, if you will, for snow plowing, whatnot. You're not going to piggyback them. There's going to be a lane of traffic, right?
Behind the cars.
Behind the cars.
Right, yeah, I just want to make sure it's not, everybody's clear, it's not in front. The lane's going to be behind the cars, yes.
So to help us and help the record, if you could
Yes.
create that, this is what this area is going to look like, the parking spaces, and I think we're going to get a better picture on what that looks like. A couple of questions I have for you is, there is some buffering vegetation that's in front of the car lot, whether it be trees, shrubs, landscaping. you're not going to touch that, that's going to remain the same.
Yeah, there's nothing like right there. No, we're not.
You'd have no objection if the board decided to grant the variance is to keep that as a condition that you would not invade any of the buffering landscaping, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Hold on one second, I have another question. Some of the other dealerships, and I will point to Van Bortle, they don't keep all of their vehicles on their lot. They have off-site, and if someone said, hey, I want a blue Subaru, and they have a runner, they go get it and they bring it back. Do you have any capability of doing that, or where do you keep those extra vehicles, I guess is a better question.
I don't have a storage lot. I mean, it's here.
So all of the vehicles that, whether it be on a trade or you purchase, they're on this lot and you have no other extra space that you can put these vehicles.
The only other place you'll find our cars is at our paint shop, but I'm not sure if it was this board or the other board. We think we promised somewhere around no more than 20 to 25 cars over there at any one given time, and that was on the heavy side. So we're not storing cars over there. Those cars are fluid. And that was a promise I made to one of the boards. We wouldn't store cars over there. That's the only other property we own that has any potential for storing automobiles. Which now we do, to your point, we do have customers that come in here, want to look at this car, and it's down at our paint booth, and that's what we'll do. We'll take the customer down, they'll drive it back, or somehow we get the car to the customer. But those cars aren't specifically stored there. They're awaiting paint, and once they're finished being painted, then they're brought back to the main store, so.
You have, when you say the paint store, is that the one, yeah, thank you.
McMahon
Is
and
that what it is,
Placer Mill?
McMahon? How many vehicles do you have, I guess, stored there for whether it be waiting for maintenance or painting or?
I drove by when I was on my way home tonight, there was about 15 of them sitting out there right
Okay,
now.
so, that's what I'm trying to, it's that need. It's figuring out where you keep your vehicles, and it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you're maxed out. You don't really have many places to put these vehicles.
I mean, right, to be honest with you, yes, we're maxed at everything, whether the car is dropped from the auction or an auction comes to pick up the car. From cradle to graves, the car lives on this lot. I have no ability to store, and I have no holding lots of any kind. When the auctions drop the cars, they drop them here. Customers take delivery of the cars here. When auctions take away the wholesale cars, they come here to take them away. This is all we have.
All right, so I think we each have our homework. We're going to look into what those other dealerships look like and how close they are into the right-of-way, and if you could get us that sketch, what that proposed
It'll be much
parking
better this
looks
time.
like.
Yeah, I didn't realize it would be this involved, so I already sent it off to McFarland Johnson once I got, what's her name, Labella's notes tonight, so.
I think you know,
Yeah.
this board is careful about whether they grant a variance or deny it, is make sure all those pieces are in place so that it makes sense on why we made the decision that we did.
Perfect.
Right, anyone else have any questions? Anyone from the public want to speak for or against? All right, then we will see you, well, hold on one sec. County Planning Board is here. Okay, so June 21st. June
This
21st
is a Zoom only.
is a Zoom only.
Okay, so you'll email me the info, or? Okay, perfect, and I'll email you the new drawing once I get them back.
Perfect. Any
Okay.
questions for us?
No, thank you for your time.
Very good, see you then. Have a good night. Ryan Holmes. What happened? We're still not here.
You were here last time? I thought I saw.
No.
I thought I saw the dialogue in the minutes. Must have been 2 meetings ago.
No, the last meeting we had, was any email or anything sent out to them?
Yeah. I reached out to him and I never heard back. I did give him a call also, and I spoke to one of his coworkers who said he would be here, but
All right, well then, let's hold them and we'll figure it out. after the next application. So let's just put them on hold for a second. Christian Galeen.
Yes.
Galen, sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
There's a restaurant out up by Canisius, and I thought I had it right. It's Galen, okay.
Yes.
So if you would just,
I printed some.
oh, go ahead.
This.
Yep.
I only have 4 copies, but.
We'll share.
Good, thank you.
Sent a whole bunch of stuff via email. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it or not, but
Well, this is the same stuff that
Yes,
was
I
in the
emailed
original
it.
application.
just thought it might be easier to look at it if
Right.
it was printed. But there is a last, the last picture there has like a similar adornment that I'd like to, a much smaller version of it above the side door, just to kind of spruce the building up a little bit.
All right, so you would like to construct, it's a 1,200 square foot detached steel garage, right, forward of your
Yes.
home.
Yep.
You've got a flag lot. And for reference, we had a variance at 7471, which would have been your neighbor to, hold on. That would have been your neighbor to
The
the east,
East.
for the
Yes.
solar panels.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep, he's right next door.
Right. Okay, go ahead.
Well, the long and short of it is, since I was 17 years old, I've wanted a place to tinker with my old cars, and my wife and I have 5 kids, so all the garages are filled up with bikes and Hot Wheels, or big wheels, and you name it. And I turned 48 in August, and if I don't do it now, it's maybe never going to happen. So I looked around the entire property to try to find the most suitable spot. And I chose that spot, one, because it's concealed by pine trees from the road. Secondly, my neighbor in front of me has his house, a barn, and another barn that they're building, which is going to be adjacent to that row of trees. So it'll be well kind of, hidden from the road. You can't see it from the neighbor with the panels pretty much at all. And the elevation, if you look behind the house, the elevation is a lot higher than the house, and so it'll make the building look that much bigger on the property. And I'm trying to make it look as aesthetically pleasing as possible. The last thing I want to do is detract from the property value. I just want a place to work on my cars. That's it.
Right, questions?
This place, the application doesn't do it justice. The thing is a picture-perfect piece of property.
Thank you so much.
And he's got a row of mature blue spruces, so healthy the needles go right to the ground. Steve Straight in front of him's got some more trees. Can't see the house. You wouldn't even know there was a house there, except for the immaculately edged paved driveway.
Thank you.
So it's not a normal development type of situation. It sets way back.
Yeah, Steve and I measured it. It's about 437 feet from the nearest edge to the road.
When I first looked at this, I said, well, this is going to be a tough sell here. And I looked at it in real life, and I think it's a good plan.
Thank you.
Donna,
You don't
questions?
have any extra room in there coming up, do you?
Well, I don't know. See how things go.
Donna, you have questions?
None.
Sarah?
So behind the house, your house sits, it looks like maybe at 506. But behind the house to the left, it's not much of a difference in elevation.
It is actually higher.
Okay.
And I wanted to put it there because it also would negate having to build, the other thing is the driveway to get to it. Not only would the cost be prohibitive, but it's a lot more environmentally disruptive to pave so much more of my yard to get to the garage. If I put it there off the driveway, it's just going to require a little tiny ramp to get to
I
it.
would say, so this would slightly be off the driveway because this is your driveway here. If this area back here, the elevation isn't much different from your house based on this, unless I'm reading it wrong.
I mean, honestly, I don't know how to read a topography map, but
Okay.
if you are in my backyard and you're walking from the back of the house, you do walk uphill. And I'm not allowed to put it there because my wife wants a pool, so.
Okay.
This is taking up a pretty good piece of your front lawn.
Well, the bonus is it will hopefully shave some time off of my mowing. Because it takes me 4 hours to mow.
Oh,
How
I
many,
also,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I also forgot to mention I intend to have the landscaping done around the building. So again, I want everything to look very cohesive. The colors are going to be the same as the house. I went with the same trim. I want it to look good. I don't want to just slap a building on the property so that I have a place to work on my cars. I want it to enhance the property, but also do it in a way that's not going to be extremely, to pave. To seal my driveway is $1,500 because it's so long. And if I were to pave around the house and to the backyard, that would just be that much more to maintain.
So how many acres do you have?
6.5.
Okay. So
Most of it's in front of the house, though.
I would say you have to convince me because when you have that many acres, you need a lot of convincing, just in my eyes. And I'm only one vote here.
Yeah.
But then my next question is, why not move it back closer to the house so the variance isn't as large as what it is?
I would be open to that. There is a large swell.
Okay.
It's a lot less level than the spot that I picked. I would welcome if someone wanted to come and walk the property with me and suggest a better spot.
but it would still be entirely in front of the house.
Yes.
Yes, but if it's closer to the house, just my view of it, we're at least attempting to meet code requirements opposed to just blatantly way out in front of the house.
I mean, in all honesty, I would rather it be closer to the house because it's a shorter walk. But the ground is a lot less even and there's drainage. The gutters drain into like this swell. And so it really couldn't go there.
Okay.
I tried to pick, the least intrusive spot as well as where it would look the nicest on the property and where it would be the least where the property would be the least impacted by the construction. If I went to it's a very hilly property. I think it used to be a field before. And, I don't want to move heaven and earth to build the building, and just either gouge out a huge part of the land to recess it or pile a bunch of dirt on top of the area that's lower so that I can have a level spot. This spot that I picked out is one of the most level on the property, and it's also very well concealed. Some of the other views show it even a little bit better, but again, you would not, driving by, be able to see it. And can I call you Fred? Is that all right? To Fred's point, you can't even see the house from the road.
Right, no, I understand that. So I'm sure we've all driven by it because that's one of the things that we do. But, no, I understand that point of it, that you could have probably put it there and none of us would have known. But I'm just asking why we couldn't have maybe moved it back, and that's my job to ask you that.
Sure, I
So-
understand. That's fine, yeah.
That's all I-
I'm glad to answer it to the best of my ability. I don't have a lot of experience with this sort of thing.
No, I understand.
Donna, questions?
None?
Matt?
I'm all set. Where you want to put it, I'm completely fine with. I think as Mike alluded to, that particular code, on a lot like this, we really don't weigh it as heavily. It's not a development where everything is, straight on a line and then someone's trying to put something forward to the home. I mean, to be completely honest, right next door, there's a hockey rink. Probably closer than half the distance from where you want to put this to the road. So it would be well within the character of the neighborhood anyways, to have some type of, to have the structure there. Nobody's going to see it. I think you tuck back in there, put it where it makes the most sense to you, is my opinion on this one. I'm good.
Thank you.
Okay. So, I think what is in your favor is, you have pine trees, that are already potentially going to buffer the, proposed garage. It's not a shed, it's going to be a garage.
Oh, yeah, it's a garage.
Yeah, okay.
No doubt about it.
I have to laugh to myself because I think somebody came in with something a similar sizes and kept calling it a shed. It's like, it's a garage.
No, it's a garage, and it's gonna have cars in it, so it's definitely a
This goes to
garage.
the planning board because of the size, or is it just a special?
Yeah, and the conservation board too, I believe.
The town planning board? Yeah. Right, okay. And as I understand it, I'm certainly not an expert in reading topo maps, but I think that the tighter the numbers, the steeper the grade.
I don't know.
So when I'm looking at in your backyard, when it says 506, 507, 508, 509, those lines are tight. Meaning there's not a lot of space in between them. And I can understand what you're saying is it's steeper. So you're probably gonna have to do more work to try and get that more excavation in the backyard. What I'm trying to look at, there is a pad, we have a side load garage?
Excuse me?
You have a side load garage, correct?
Well, yeah, side and front, they're both.
Okay, but there is it looks like about a 37 feet by 37 asphalt area that you use to get to the garage.
Yes.
So, just for a bit of, just walking through some of this to Sarah's point, could you get your garage, your proposed garage, to the east of, call it a pad, but that 37 by 37, have you looked into that?
So I'd love to do that. There is, I don't know what you call it. I think it's where the power for the house comes from, but it's a massive box.
Okay.
That is padlocked. I think it's for electrical. I'm not sure.
Does it hum?
Excuse me?
Does it hum?
Does it hum? I haven't heard it hum.
Okay, we're just, again, exploring other places that it could go, and because of how the zoning board, if they do decide to grant a variance, is to do it as minimally as possible. So when we look at these other areas, that's the whole purpose of exploring. We're not trying to re-engineer anything, but your explanation about why it couldn't or be difficult to put it in these other locations. So that's the exercise we're going through.
Sure.
I think it's in a note someplace, might have been an email. The distance from your neighbor to the north, 7479?
He's east, I think.
No. 7471 is the individual who put the solar panels in.
Yes.
The 7479 would be to the north of you.
Oh, yeah, that's Steve Straight.
Okay. So what I didn't know is when it said 63 feet from the rear property line, are you describing where Steve Straight's property line ends, which would be his rear setback? It would be about 63 feet from his rear setback to where the proposed garage is going to go?
The nearest part of the garage, yes.
Okay. And you understand when, as far as the eaves go, That's where the measurement is. It's not the wall itself, it's where the eave starts or
Okay.
ends.
Okay.
Right, that's where the measurement would be.
It could be then 62?
Might be another foot or something.
Okay. Just so, you know, you're clear on where this is going to go.
Sure.
If the board decides to grant it. All right. I think we're good. Wait, one last question, though. Are you going to disturb any other vegetation, trees, plants, shrubs, anything? You're going to do the best you can, and then you're going to add some other,
Yes, that's another
Yes, you
reason why I put it there, because I didn't want to have to try and take down any trees or, I mean, it's a beautiful property. The last thing I want to do is mar it. I do intend to plant some flowering trees around the building, like maybe some weeping cherry trees or something. But no, absolutely will not be taking anything down.
all right. Susie, anyone online? We could tell, no? Can I ask it anyway? Anyone wants to be for or against? No, hearing none. So now we need to figure out if we were to grant the variance and be as descriptive as we can on the location of the proposed barn. I think you heard with the applicant before is there's distances, let's say for a right-of-way. In this case, there would need to be a distance either from, seeing as your home is permanent, how much further north would you be proposing this structure to be? Or we can do it from your front lot line that you're sharing with Mr. Straight at 7479.
So, well, it would be 62 feet, I guess, with the, what'd you call it, the eave of the building from my northern boundary. But as far as how far it would be from the house, I would say something less than that, but I don't.
Okay, then let's do 62 feet from your front lot line and Mr. Straight, 7479, his rear.
His rear
His rear
property
line.
boundary will be.
So that gets us north and south. Now we got to figure out east and west.
So to the east is a cornfield, and to the west is, I forget the address, the guy with the solar panels.
I
And,
thought that's the east. No, you're right, go ahead, keep going.
and that's 100, it's 100 feet to from my property line to the back of my proposed garage would be 100 feet.
So 100 feet to, from the
74
nearest corner of the garage to 7471.
Yes.
And you're sure? I
Yes.
just want to make sure this is within
Well, Steve.
your own personal margin of error.
Well, so Steve and I went out and measured it. He has like a several 100-foot tape.
Okay,
And
so okay.
Yeah, we also measured from the edge of the garage to the road, and that was 437 feet.
All right, that's helpful for the board to understand how far back from the road it is. But I think what we're looking at here is specific to the location to 7479 and 7471, those property lines.
Yeah, so it's 62 feet from 7479 and 100 feet from 7471.
Okay. Anyone have any further questions, comments, concerns? All right. I'm just going to take a quick little straw vote. Fred, you're good with it?
Very good.
Matt?
Yeah.
Donna?
Good as I get.
Sarah?
Well, no.
Okay. All right, no, that's fine. All right, I'm comfortable with it. So let's go through the criteria. So first being, an undesirable change would not be produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties created by the granting of area variance. Justification being that it is approximately 437 feet from the nearest portion of the paved road. It is a flag lot. The proposed garage already has significant buffering around it to the north, to the west, arguably to the east. The topography in the backyard appears to be not impossible, but difficult and potentially prohibitive to put a structure behind the house to comply with the code. But it also proposes difficulty and cost prohibitive is extending the driveway even further. We haven't heard anyone speak against this application. It is of note that we recently granted an area variance for 7471, which is the applicant's neighbor to the west, for the solar panels. And that was for structures, solar panels forward of his home. Would anyone like to add anything else to the first criteria? Second, the benefits sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance. Much as we had discussed earlier for the first criteria, it is potentially prohibitive to construct the garage in any other location. Flag lot, approximately 437 feet from the nearest portion of the paved road. Would anyone like to add anything or comment on the second criteria? Third, the requested area variance is substantial. It is forward of the primary structure. However, another factor is his neighbor, 7471. This board granted a area variance for solar panels forward of his home. Fourth, the area variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. What is of note is there is current vegetation, trees and shrubs, whatnot, that's already present that will provide buffering for the proposed garage. And it's also, as Fred pointed out, it is difficult, if not impossible, to see when this proposed structure goes up. You probably won't be able to see it on Dryer Road. Fourth, the alleged difficulty is self-created. As a proposed condition to it, the applicant has agreed that he will provide further buffering, vegetation, trees, shrubs of his choice to provide further whether it be buffering or to make it as aesthetically pleasing as possible. The location of the proposed garage is going to be 62 feet from, this would be to the north, this was 7479 to that lot line, and 100 feet to the west, which would be 7471 Dryer Road. Would anyone like to add anything to the conditions or the criteria that we've walked through? All right, hearing none, I'd entertain a motion for approval.
A motion to approve?
Second it?
Donna, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Me?
All right, you're good. Good luck. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you very much.
Hold on.
For the verbiage of your language there, that property is to the east.
7471? Is that right? I don't,
East, yep,
It's east.
east.
What did I say? West?
oh, yeah, no, you're
I
right.
apologize. It
Sorry.
is to the east.
My mistake, too.
Wait a minute. Yeah, oh, it's east.
To the east.
Thank you. I appreciate that for the clarification. So we're good. Anything else? Awesome. We're good. We're good. All right. Good luck to you.
Thank you so
Thanks for your
much.
patience.
Thank you.
So now we're going to go back to Ryan Holmes. I believe the last time we were here, the applicant was not present, and we decided to reschedule this and table it for this meeting. Not here again, so we have a choice. Either can table it again or move forward and either grant or deny the variance. Fred, thoughts?
My thought is that we should approve this variance before they get it built.
Already
And
there.
remember the geometry of the fence is so far off to the side.
It's already there, Fred.
I know it. You'd have trouble seeing it.
I thought you said before they were built.
Well, they're gonna do another section here one of these days.
Okay.
The front of the house and its relation to this fence in front of it is strange. You don't hardly realize that it's in front. Remember that part? I think that's important,
So,
and it's being well done.
right, so if I understand you correctly, you're in favor of moving forward, and you would be in favor of granting the variance.
Yeah.
Right? Donna?
I'm pretty much the same way.
All right?
Down, it looks nice.
Sarah?
I would be too. I'm fine with moving forward with it, but I think I wasn't here last time, so I don't know if it's a shot to reach out to them one more time and say, look, it's this meeting, or if that's it, or if you still want to continue. But, I mean, I wouldn't want to necessarily make a decision if they're not here. But that's just my,
And they haven't been here yet, right?
they were here once.
Yeah, they were here,
The first time.
yeah, they were here the first time, and we had told them that we needed county planning board comments. And the next meeting, they weren't here. There were no comments from the county planning board. So,
They already put it up, though.
right, they've been moving forward with it.
I'm pretty sure the fence that's already up
Yes.
is not the part that's seeking a variance. I believe the parts that they're seeking the variance on are the two lots. Yeah, the ends. I don't believe that's been put up. I could be incorrect, but
I think you're right. The last time I drove by.
But the one parallel to the road doesn't need a variance?
No, the pieces that they're looking for,
Right here, it's lot 1 and 31 is the only way they need it.
It's the fence parallel to the road that ends in front of the
well,
house
it's not,
on the side road.
right, the two pieces that they need a variance for,
Is right here, Mike. It's 1, it says lot 1 and 31.
right, so one is on Beaumont and the other is
Claremont.
Claremont. And there's, I don't want to call it a wing, but it's a 45-degree angle from the main fence and it's all for aesthetics, just so it's not a straight line. It's that 11-foot piece, I know it's on Beaumont is 11 feet, and Claremont, I think, is about the same.
Yeah, so not being here for the one time they were here and probably wanting someone to sell it to me a little bit and
Okay.
understand it, I'd say I'd abstain would be I wouldn't be for or against it. I would abstain. Right now, if we had to.
All right. I think because of some discomfort, I would request then that you would send another email and express the board's concern, and it's imperative that they be here for the next meeting. There are questions that some board members have, and they would like the applicant or representative to be here so that those questions can be answered. Okay? I think that would be as clear a message as we can give. All right, with that, Drew, anything you need to share, talk to us about?
I have one question related to one of these, if I can ask.
Sure you can.
You got 5 minutes, or it's 8 o'clock.
Don't get them in trouble.
You're gonna be running out of here.
No, from the town side, I don't have anything except for, the summer activities are starting up. So the concert series on June 16th, I think, they start on Thursday. So make sure you take a look at that and let your neighbors know. The question I had, and Rick, I don't know if you happen to know this, I certainly don't, but with the gentleman from Auction Direct, from what I understood, he would like to push the row cars currently back and then continue to create a smaller travel lane and then also a new travel lane between the existing line and then the front line. I was just curious about, from an engineering standpoint, in parking lots and the passageway for emergency vehicles, et cetera, and I speak from experience just because I drive around in the 75,000-pound truck every day, and we have some lots in our town that are not possible to navigate, so I don't know if there are code restrictions on depths and widths of those travel lanes.
Well, that's a good question. We've had this before, and the one that comes to mind is Phoenix Mills, that there was some variants that were needed, and I don't know which representative from the fire department came saying that it would be difficult to get any kind of emergency vehicle behind there should there be a fire or whatnot. So though, I think it was sheds.
Because of the sheds. Yeah,
Right,
they're
the
like-
sheds and the distance where the sheds were proposed to be to the rear of the building, it just caused too much trouble. So those sheds need to be further back. So it's a good question. And that was one of the reasons as well, as I wanted to see what that diagram looked like, to see how much space is going to be between each row of vehicle. Is it enough for just a plow? Or if it turns out that it's only for a plow, what does that mean then for an emergency vehicle, whether it be an EMT vehicle, a fire truck, or whatever the case may be? And if we need to take a further look at it, and whether it be you weigh in or a fire marshal weighs in to say, that's going to cause a problem.
Yeah.
That's valuable information for us.
Yeah, that's just something that popped up as I thought about it. I know that the Fire Marshal Bob Graham has looked at similar instances in the past. I know recently we had to have a building up on the north side of town actually remove some parking spots because you couldn't simply get a fire truck through that area. So he's very, very helpful with that. Just something I thought about.
I appreciate
Hey,
the
thank you,
thought.
guys.
Well done, thank you. Anyone else have anything for the board? Questions, comments, concerns?
You want any more stuff from that class I went to, or you had enough with two
You go
two
right ahead.
handouts?
More the better.
Okay,
Can't
I'll
learn
keep it
enough.
coming then, a couple more weeks, a couple
Okay.
more times.
Good, good, thank
What
you.
class are we talking about?
I went to one about zoning.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, the email of it.
I think it was about zoning.
All right, don't forget, next, okay. Next week, June 21st, our next meeting is going to be Zoom only.
I can be anywhere I want to be then, pretty much, huh? As long as I got a computer connection.
If so you choose, if that's what you want to do, you certainly
Every
can.
turn life's agreeing with you, Fred.
Okay. All right, I think we're good to go. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Very good. Thanks so much. Have a good night.